Harper Perennial and HarperAudio present The Fallen Angels, a novel by Bernard Cornwell and Susannah Kells, performed by Fiona Paul.
Prologue. Death's kingdom is the night, when the church bell strikes the small hours, when the owls hunt, when the land is black with night. Death reigns. They are the witching hours, when castle and cottage are closed against the dark, yet cannot stop the reaper who comes to grin his skull grin and give the gravedigger employment. At such an hour, on a night furious with storm, the Lady Campion Lassender woke into nightmare. A scream woke her. She heard hooves on the gravel and a man shouting. His words were snatched to oblivion by the wind and rain that slashed dark at the castle's windows. Edna, the maid, whose scream had jarred Campion awake, pounded on the door. "My lady! My lady!" "I'm awake." Campion was already pulling a woolen gown over her nightclothes. Edna opened the door. She held a candle and her face was as white as its wax. "He's bleeding, my lady. He fell." Her voice was half sobbing, half scared. "Has the doctor been sent for?" Campion's voice was calm. She led the maid through the antechamber, out into the long corridor. "Has he?" "I don't know, my lady." Servants, woken by the commotion, watched in the passages. Campion smiled at them, knowing they needed reassurance. The single candle, half shielded by Edna's hand, threw strange shadows on the high marble pillars and on the painted ceilings of the great rooms. Campion ran barefooted up the marble staircase that led to the upper gallery. The long case clock struck 2. The lights were brighter in this part of the castle. Servants had lit candles, and their flickering flame showed the open door of her father's rooms. Campion stepped over a flax sheet, bright with blood, into her father's bedroom. Her father was on the floor. There was blood on the carpet, on the bed, and on the hands of the servants. Her father's terrible, sunken, dying face seemed paler than ever. His eyes were shut. "What happened?" Caleb, her father's manservant, answered. "Fell out of bed, my lady." On the table beside the bed was a spilt bottle of brandy. Doubtless, she thought, he had tried with his one good arm to reach for it to dull the pain that tormented him, and somehow his paralysed body had fallen. She knelt beside him, took his hand, and stroked his cheek. His face was a grimace of pain. He moaned, but he seemed insensible to her presence. She dropped his hand and lifted the blanket that Caleb had put over the leg's stump. The Earl of Leyson had been paralysed these 15 years, a strong man brought to pain and sickness and nightmares by a falling horse. Just 1 week ago, the surgeons had taken off a leg because the gangrene had come in his foot. "It opened up, my lady," Caleb Wright said. She could see that the servant had twisted a silken bedcord about the thigh to staunch the blood flow. "Lift him onto the bed," Campion said. She helped, and her father moaned as they put his wasted, light body onto the mattress. She put the blanket back over him. "The doctor's coming?" "Yes, my lady," Caleb said. She stroked her father's face. "Father? Father?" But he could not hear her. She wondered how much blood he had lost. His breathing was slow, his chest hardly rising and falling, and she could scarcely feel the beat of his heart when she put her hand on his neck. She bent over and kissed him. The wind rattled rain on the window by his bed. For 15 years the Earl had looked on the estate through that window, and through all those long seasons of his dying, his daughter had been his consolation and his joy. She was called Lady Campion Lassender, and, on this September night of 1792, she was 24 years old. She had been given beauty as few are given beauty, yet she seemed unaware of the gift. She was slim and tall, with pale gold hair that was the colour of fine wheat 2 weeks before harvest. She had a face that was swift to smile, and her quick spirit flashed like sunlit gold in the huge halls and sickness-haunted rooms of Leyson Castle.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?